Guys, we got this thing coming up. I don't know if you've heard. August 20th is a big date in the life of this church, okay? But if you have not been thinking about this thing coming up, I hope you start thinking about it because it's kind of important. My name is Ben. I'm a pastor here, and some people have asked me whether or not our students are being equipped or educated on this big vote that the church is having coming up in August. And I'm like, I've had some side conversations with a few students and some of the parents, but as a whole, not necessarily. And so that is what this video is for. I hope that in this video, you are a little bit more prepared for this decision. Students, if you have been confirmed in this church, remember, you are a full-fledged member, that you have a vote, that your voice needs to be heard, that your voice actually matters big time. So, number one, I want to simplify this thing, right? There are some issues with our church. In the bigger church, we're part of a denomination, and that denomination is the United Methodist Church. So Denver, we're part of this bigger denomination that has a lot of issues going on, a lot of disagreements within our denomination about sexuality, about what kind of pastors should be ordained and what shouldn't be, money issues and decisions on where money should go and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of a big thing. The United Methodist Church is not perfect, okay? It ain't perfect. Every denomination has issues, and these issues just need some clarity, some decisions to be made, so it kind of determines the way that the church of the future goes. That's what this vote's about. Is Denver going to remain part of the United Methodist denomination where they have some issues, or are we going to break apart from that denomination and go our own direction, or join another denomination that may have its own issues? Bottom line, no denomination is perfect. And I pray that we vote and make this decision not based on a denomination or based on loyalty to something that we're part of, or for political reasons, or for money reasons, but instead that we earnestly pray and that we seek God, that you are equipped with the knowledge and understanding of how to make a decision, right? Me, I'm going to be straight up with you. You're going to probably be frustrated with me because I'm not going to land on one side or the other in this video. If you would like to know what I feel, what I'm convicted, what I'm convinced that God is up to and how we should live into that, let's have a one-on-one conversation, or let's have your whole family. And I would love to talk with my wife, Julie, and you about where we land in this whole conversation. But for this video, I want to empower you and equip you to make a decision for yourself. And so, as you're being empowered, that you have this kindling of a fire within you to get hungry and to learn more about the topics, about human sexuality, about pastors and ordaining pastors, and what the Bible has to say about all of this stuff. I pray that you would get hungry to learn more about it. Because at the end of the day, you, our younger generation, are not just the church of the future, but you're the church of the now. If you've been paying attention to what's going on, what God is up to in this world, He's using Gen Z to transform this country. There's revivals all across this nation happening at college campuses and at high schools across the nation. And I pray that you guys live into this reality that you are the church of now. It's not just the future. That being said, this vote has a lot of things to do with the future and the now. So your voice needs to be heard. Gen Z, you are entrenched in these conversations about sexuality, about identity, about how to witness to your friends that may think differently than you, how to worship with other believers who have different convictions. Gen Z, you guys live in this reality, and we have a lot to learn from you. So I want you to use your voice. We need diversity of thought. Iron sharpens iron only when there's conflicts. Like, it's not gonna ever hit each other if the iron goes in the same direction all the time. But when you strike against each other, there's conflict. There is disagreement. There is different perspectives on something. That's when iron sharpens each other. We need to be in conversation with people that don't think like us. That way, the Holy Spirit can sharpen us to be more Christ-like and to be more in alignment with how God is working in this world. You guys have heard me preach time and time again about what is God's will and how is God working His will out in this world. But again, let me just clarify. God's will is to reconcile all creation back to Himself. That means bring unity and harmony. And the cool thing about harmony is, if you guys have ever, listened to music and you've heard harmonies, they're not the same note. There's beauty in unity and harmony, but it doesn't mean uniformity. We don't have to look exactly the same as every other church out there. Harmonies, actually two different notes, but they blend so perfectly together it makes this thing more beautiful. And that's what God does. He uses people with different perspectives and different convictions and different ways of living out a Christian walk together as the body of Christ. Some of us might be arms, some of us might be legs, some of us might be belly buttons. I don't know why, but they serve a purpose. We're all created differently. Every church is created differently for a purpose. And so God's will is to reconcile all creation back to himself. God doesn't appreciate the church splintering for no reason. The church is God's kingdom, where God's will is the focus. And we should always be bent to unity and to harmony. Also, God meets us where we are, whatever context we're in, and he always nudges us toward Christian perfection to look more and more like Jesus. God will work in us and through us if we choose to partner with him in his mission. Whether we stay affiliated or if we disaffiliate, it's important to know that we always choose God's will above our own. We have an opportunity here, young people. Whatever decision is made on August 20th, whatever side of this decision that you feel convicted and convinced that we should be on, either choice is redeemable. God will work his will. He will work things out. Whatever the result of the vote is, it should not be a celebration. Just know that anytime there's a vote, there's competition. Anytime there's a competition, there's winning and losing. It creates an us against them. It creates disunity. It creates rivalry. It creates enemies. That is not the will of God. We're not going to celebrate. This is a time of lament. This is almost like a lose-lose situation for the witness of this church. We are going to be hit with the enemy over and over and over. And how we overcome that is by keeping our eyes on God. That we're going to trust him that the decision that this church has made is the right decision. And we're going to follow through and commit with that decision. Quick story. I like Peyton Manning. Full disclosure, not a Broncos fan or a Colts fan. I like Peyton Manning. He was a free agent one day, and a reporter came up to him after he was in Tennessee. And the reporter asked him, when he was shopping all these different NFL teams that he could be a quarterback of, she asked him, "Are you afraid of making the wrong decision?" And Peyton Manning had the words of wisdom to say, "You make it the right decision based on the work you put into it." There is no necessarily wrong decision here. The wrong decision is not putting the work in afterward, to commit to being unified, to commit to being a body of believers who are focused on God's mission and calling in this world. That's the right decision. There's redemption on either side of this decision, only if we choose to partner with God and give him and trust him with these results. So we have an opportunity to show Denver, our community, that Denver United Methodist Church, all right, who we are right now, and whatever we choose to be in the future, we are not like other Christian communities. We are not going to fall victim to being divided and split over a disagreement. But instead, this iron sharpens iron. This conversation that we are going to be part of actually will make us all sharper in our walks in our faith. How do we demonstrate our faith? Our goal as Jesus followers is to be like Jesus. Our goal in following God is to be like God. So in this season, I hope that we demonstrate our faith. We live out our faith by growing hungry to learn more, to grow deeper in connection and trust on God. That we learn more about the topics at hand and the different perspectives there are on these topics. I pray that we trust in who God is and how powerfully God works no matter what stands in his way. God is going to get his will done no matter what. And that's reconciling all, bringing peace, unity, harmony into this world. Let's demonstrate the love and the grace and the mercy that God gives us. Let's give it to others, especially our enemies. If things don't go the way you want, show humility and trust that God is working something out that's better. And we get to be part of that together. So I would encourage this conversation to be had, that you would talk with your parents, that you would talk with your grandparents. You would talk to your respected elders of this church, leaders that you look up to. You would have conversations to learn more about these topics, what other people feel convicted, and how to bear the fruit of the Spirit as you demonstrate and walk with Christ, your faith. I pray that you seek God first and foremost in everything you do. My goal is to not sway one way or the other. I feel called to where God has placed me right now, and I'm excited for what God is doing in Harbor Youth and the momentum that we have going into this new school year and all that God is going to bring to us this school year. But if you would like to know exactly where I fall and my conviction on this whole topic, please reach out. I'd love to talk. The goal of this video is to get you focused on what truly matters, that you would be hungry and that you would seek God with everything in your heart, mind, and soul. I hope this video makes sense. I didn't go into all the details of all the extended issues out there in the world, but located in the notes and the descriptions of this video, there's going to be resources that you can click on, that you can dive deeper into knowing a lot more about the topics at hand. But again, come with the foundation that you are going to seek God and trust God in all things as we talk about this topic.